Hi. I used to be really into stand-up comedy. Like, when I was back in middle school and getting ready in the mornings, I used to always put it on A&E so I could watch live at the Improv while I was getting dressed. In high school and through my 20s, I used to watch every comedy special I could find on HBO, Comedy Central, anywhere really. And I was always telling my friends about my favorite comedians and comedians that I had just discovered. And a lot of times I'd tell them about comedians like Jim Gaffigan, Zach Galifianakis, Louis C.K., Eddie Izzard, and I would get blank stares. These are pretty well-known names now, but back when I was telling people about them, people had no idea who they were. And I know that makes me sound kind of like a comedy hipster or something, but the difference is I've always been really excited when those comedians break into the mainstream. I'm always really happy when people I really like have a lot of success. And when I used to tell people about those guys, there's one other comedian that I used to rave about that, again, my friends who weren't into comedy had never heard of, and that's Mike Birbiglia. I always really like Mike Birbiglia. I like his awkward, kind of self-deprecating delivery and kind of identify with a lot of the things that he has to say. I've just always been a big fan, and as a lot of the other comedians that I mentioned have been showing up in a lot of movies and TV shows and things like that recently, I've been waiting for Mike Birbiglia to do the same thing. So when I found out he had a new movie coming out called Sleepwalk With Me, I was really excited, especially when I found out that he had actually written and directed it. But at the same time, I was a little bit nervous. Sometimes comedians get into things like movie and TVs and books and things like that, and they don't do very well. It's not that they're not still talented, it's just that sometimes their comedy doesn't translate well. Mitch Hedberg had a whole thing about people like movie execs basically trying to get stand-up comedians to do things that isn't stand-up, and that just isn't really their forte. So I really hoped this movie was going to be good, but I was prepared for possible disappointment. And I'm gonna say right now, I just got back from the movie and I was not disappointed. I really enjoyed Sleepwalk With Me. A lot of times when comedians act, it's not very believable. They're not always good at realistic characters. They can't necessarily always have serious conversations in a film because it's like there's always some part of them that's still trying to go for the laugh, even in the more serious moments. And sometimes the plots kind of push the limits of believability in order to get some cheap gags in. That's not the case in Sleepwalk With Me. I really believe everything that's happening in it. The movie is a story of an aspiring stand-up comedian by the name of Matt Pandamiglio, who clearly is an entirely fictional character and in no way resembles Mike Birbiglia. Except at the very beginning of the movie he insists that it's a completely true story, which is kind of weird coming from a technically fictional character. But anyway, it's the story of Matt and his girlfriend Abby. They've been dating for 8 years and there's a lot of pressure for them to get married, and the stress pushes Matt to start sleepwalking in increasingly dangerous ways, while he also tries to figure out the state of his relationship with Abby and embarks on his stand-up comedy career. Because so much of the movie is focused on his strained relationship with Abby, there are some very serious and tense and sad moments in this movie, despite it being actually really funny. And scenes like that are kind of the test of any good comic actor. If the actor can't ever be serious, then a lot of times the movie lacks a sense of reality. It's hard to care too much about a character that I can't believe is a real person. And Mike Birbiglia does a really good job in those scenes, in addition to being really, really funny in the parts that are meant to be funny. The sort of awkward delivery style that he uses as a comedian in real life translates really well into believable conversations as an actor. I also think Lauren Ambrose does a great job as Abby, and Matt's parents are fantastic characters and do an excellent job of portraying why Matt would be so nervous about the idea of getting married. The dream sequences that appear throughout the movie are really entertaining without being over-the-top ridiculous, and the stand-up routines that he does throughout the movie are great because Mike Birbiglia is just a really good stand-up comic. And I really believe he knows what it's like to bomb as a comic, because in the scenes when he does, it feels very real and awkward and painful to watch. The stand-up comic bombing is something that I've seen a million times in movies and TV, but I've never had it feel as real and make me cringe the way that it does in Sleepwalk With Me. Basically, I had a great time watching this movie. It was a lot of fun. If you're looking for innovative, mind-blowing plot, this isn't going to be the movie that you want to see. But it is really fun and well done, and you should go see it right away. I would recommend, if you're going to go see it, don't try to go yesterday. Yesterday was opening night, and I tried to go. I forgot movies sell out. I forgot that was a thing. I don't normally go to movies on opening night, because even though I really like movies, I don't so much like people at the movies, so I forgot that maybe I should buy tickets ahead of time. But fortunately, unless you have a time machine, that won't be an issue for you, because opening night was yesterday. But if you happen to be Mike Birbiglia, and I'm sure you're watching this, Mike, because I am incredibly famous. Congratulations! Your movie sold out in Boston on opening night. I hope it continues to do well because it's a really good movie, so I give it an 8 out of 10. It's a lot of fun, especially if you're into stand-up comedy. I think you'll enjoy this because there are a lot of recognizable stand-up comics who make cameos in there. Eugene Merman, Mark Maron, Wyatt Cenac, and there's also a bit with Mitch Hedberg in the background, which made me sad because I miss him. He's one of my favorites as well. And a bunch of other people who I'm just forgetting right now because I'm a terrible person. But it's great. Have a good time. Go see the movie. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye.